What's going on, you guys? Fullsteer, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth Sejuani Jungle guide. Sejuani won the poll, as you can see right now. If you guys want to vote for the next poll, you can. There, just hit the notification bell, follow like the community tab, and you can see what polls go up. Polls last for 24 hours, so yeah, whoever wins the poll after 24 hours gets to be the next guide. So make sure you do that if you want to. And yeah, also if you guys want to catch me streaming live on Twitch, you can. There is a link in the description. I do stream on Twitch quite a bit whenever I can, really. And yeah, come follow me there, hang out. And with all that being said, let's get right into the runes. Now, Sejuani's runes are very straightforward. She just wants to go for as much CC reduction and then also tankiness as possible. You want to be able to be in the front line as much as you can, and to be able to soak as much damage as possible whilst tanking also like CC ultimates like Leona ult or Thresh Hook or anything just of the matter that's just CCs. If you can tank it for your team and get out of it as fast as possible, that's the best thing you can go for. So Aftershock works extremely well. You can build a lot of health on Sejuani, and then with her, like all of her abilities basically, you can proc this extremely easily. It has a very low cooldown, so you're gonna get a lot of use in like tank stats wise, and also damage wise helps a little bit as well. So Aftershock is by far the best rune you can get. Now the second rune here is gonna be Demolish. The reason you want to get Demolish is because you, as a champion, as a tank jungler, are very easily able to like shut people down in lane and just help your laners push. And then every time you just get a gank, because you're gonna be focusing on ganking a bit more than farming as a jungler, like with this style of jungling. So Demolish is actually very good there, because you can just push out the wave, get a Demolish proc every single time, which can result into a lot of free turret plates, which can result into a lot of free money as well. So Demolish is just overall the best rune out of these. The other two kind of, like, as the playstyle of Sejuani, kind of underwhelming compared to Demolish. Now right here, it's basically just conditioning. You don't necessarily have to worry about bone plating or anything here, because conditioning will just make you extremely tanky later in the game, which is just what you're looking for. It's a lot more value than a little bit of additional tankiness in the early game. And if you just play your game right and kind of avoid early game threats, if you do have those in the enemy team, then you can just get away with conditioning still. This makes you extremely tanky, especially once you get like a stone plate. That this item just becomes really valuable, or this rune becomes extremely valuable and just by far the best to get. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you want to get that CC reduction, so the unflinching here is very good. A secondary tree, again, with the tenacity, kind of the tenacity and the unflinching stacked together, giving you a lot of tenacity, and this basically means that you're able to get away with Ninja Tabai in a lot of your games. Like in most of your games, getting Ninja Tabai is just going to make you so much more tanky, because it blocks so much auto attack damage that the double tenacity into Ninja Tabi combination will usually do like the best, and in a lot of games that will just be the one you want to go for. And then right there you combine, you can get Triumph. You can also get Presence of Mind if you want, but usually on tanks it's better to get Triumph, simply because you are frontlining a lot, and 12% of a missing HP from a tank that gets focused in teamfights is a lot of health. That is basically just like being an extreme wall for your team. As soon as your team starts to get maybe one kill or an assist for you at least, then you can get Triumph stacks back and get your HP bar back. This basically means you'll be able to live through fights a bit easier, and then also get out of the fight and heal back up with Warmocks to just go in again. So this is usually the one I will take, and this is my standard like rune page for the Sejuani. This just, again, tankiness with the early pressure on turrets, even more tankiness, double CC for the reduction, so you can easily go Ninja Tabai. And of course there are some games where you can just go Mercs as well still with this, and just basically not get CC'd ever. But yeah, and then Triumph to be extra healthy to tank more for your team, and as soon as like kills start coming in. But for the runes here, you want to get attack speed as your first one. The reason you want attack speed is because you want to just get as much auto attacks off as possible to get your permafrost to kill the camps faster. So really, and then you go adaptive. You can also go double tank like this, for example, double magic resist, double armor if they are full AP or AD, which is fine. Also, Sejuani, you have enough base damage, you don't necessarily need the adaptive force. You can just go double armor, double magic resist, but I do like the additional adaptive force early on to just help with my jungle clear a little bit more. And yeah, it's a bit of preference there. You're going to be tanky enough regardless, but you can still, of course, go double armor, double magic resist if you want to like really fuck with the enemy team a lot if they're like full AD or full AP. So yeah. And basically it for the runes. If you guys have any questions on this, make sure to put those in the comments below, and I'll move on to the item build now. Alright, so for the item build, we have the Hunter's Talisman and the Refillable Potion as a start. Now, the Hunter's Talisman is definitely the best one to get, since this will keep your mana high, so you can basically use Permafrost permanently throughout your jungle, and then you can just clear your camps the best way possible. Also, this gives you health sustain against those AoE camps, which is very beneficial as well, and overall, this is just the one you want to start with. Now, as a main item upgrade on Sejuani, you want to look towards getting the Cinderhulk as fast as possible, really, because this is going to give you your clear speed as well as your tankiness. Now on Sejuani, I do really prefer the blue smite over the red smite, because you're going to be tanky enough regardless, and red smite at that point doesn't really do anything. Blue smite, on the other hand, is going to allow you to stick to people, so you can get more auto attacks off to get your permafrost off, your CC off, your E, like everything just in general. The extra move speed from this and a slowing effect as well is just going to make engaging a lot easier, and that's why you want to kind of opt for blue smite over red smite. Red smite will make you more tanky and more durable, but let's be honest here, you're playing Sejuani. There is no need for you to be more tanky or durable because you're already insanely tanky. So yeah, you're fine on that front. You want to rush into this item, and you can do it two ways. You can go for the blue smite first or for the Bami Cinder first. If you go blue smite, you'll probably have enough, money for boots. Most likely you will. You can go like the setup right here. You will have 950 gold on your first back in a lot of situations. Maybe a little bit more depending if ganks like worked out, really. So yeah. There's two ways you can go. You can use 950 gold, for example, to go blue smite boots, which is a buy if you want to look towards pressuring and ganking a little bit more at this point. If your game is going into maybe like more of a stalemate situation, like your lanes are just pushing in, there's not much for you to gank or invade because the enemy jungler is stronger than you 1v1. There are a lot of situations, and you can also go Bami Cinder instead to farm your jungle camps a bit better. So it's just like identify your situation. You can go blue smite boots on your first back. If you want to gank more, put pressure, gank your lanes, help them out, then go this. If you want to farm more, then you can go Bami Cinder because that will speed up your clear speed more. And then, of course, still finish into the jungle item completion. Now, for boots, in like 99% of games, Ninja Tabe is just the best option. It blocks 12% of the basic attacks, and also you have double tenacity from your runes, so don't need tenacity from this. However, if they do have an absorbent amount of like CC, then you can still go mercs, and of course, if they are like full AP basically, then like the magic resist from this is just better than the ninjas would be. So yeah, those are for the boots, and then for your main first item on Sejuani, it is Warmogs. The moment you pick this up is the moment you also get the active, because like Sejuani has a lot of base HP. This right here will give you the active, it gives you CDR, and then basically you will be able to engage with this item with your Aftershock at the same time, tank a lot of damage because you're going to easily be able to proc your Aftershock. And then if you kind of play around your Aftershock, you're also playing around your Warmogs. So you can go into a fight, make an engage, tank as much damage as possible, go out of the fight, heal back up with Warmogs, get another Aftershock proc, and then go back in. It's stuff, yeah, like you can easily do that. You're going to be able to tank a lot of damage for your team, which is ideally what you're looking for. Make an engage, take the damage, and then just get out for free. And then heal back up with Warmogs. So this is by far the best one to get, and this is the item you should always rush. Always. So right here, just remember that if you go for this with the setup right here, you're going to have a lot of health. And then your Aftershock is the main thing that's going to provide the resistances. You want to make sure you proc that at vital situations. So yeah. Now after Warmogs, after a core build like this, which basically will come down to this in most games. So after a core build like right here, then you can go on to a couple of items. Now an extremely good tank item for Sejuani would be Stoneplate. It's extremely cheap as well, only 2,500 gold. If you buy this right after this, you're going to have stacked a lot of health already. And then the Stoneplate basically gives you 80 armor and 80 magic resist. You go in, you get the active from this, you're going to double your health as well, and basically just become extremely difficult to kill. And then as well, you can just keep rocking your permafrost, you can use your ultimate Qs, everything, tank as much damage as possible with the Stoneplate active, and it's just really hard to deal with for the enemy team. You're going to be extremely tanky in this setup right here. So this is if you need to be more tanky. If your team needs a little bit more damage, another item that is extremely good on Sejuani is Liandry's. Now, you guys, some of you might be surprised by this, but this item holds high value on Sejuani. It basically just gives you so much extra damage, especially on squishy targets. You already have high base damage, so let's just say the enemy team has a bunch of like damage champions, right? So, just thinking of stuff right now, maybe like a Pantheon top lane with like Talon mid or stuff like that, just more squishy damage champions. Liandry's basically allows Sejuani to one-shot those types of champions because her damage is just so high, and you're easily going to be able to get the maximum duration out of this, so the maximum additional damage out of it, and also the HP burn, because you do have so much CC in your kit. So Liandry's is a very, very valuable damage item if your team needs the additional damage. If you are doing extremely well, like let's say you're getting all the kills where you kind of don't want them to or you're forced to, then building a little bit more damage in just the form of Liandry's. This is the only damage item Sejuani needs to be able to do a lot of additional damage in a game and just like start topping the damage charts, honestly. This is a very valuable and strong item. So that's something you could look for right there. If you do need a little bit of damage. Now, to follow that up, you can still go Stoneplate to provide yourself the additional tankiness, which is a perfectly fine item to get. Other items that are going to be good on Sejuani, you can go for like the traditional tank items. So if you need healing reduction, you can go Thornmail. That's just a very solid item all around for the healing reduction aspect. Of course, crit reduction for the random ones. Now, you can also go more supportive in the form of Locket and like Knight's Vow. These are usually the ones I'll go for unless I do need the healing reduction from this. I'll go for like a Knight's Vow as an armor item to be able to put this on a champion on my team to play with them. And then also the Locket for the shield and everything. So just providing more stuff for your team. You're already going to be tanky enough. Like right here, let's say you have a build setup like this, right? There's no way anyone is going to kill you like this. Honestly, if the enemy team starts bashing on you and you just proc Stoneplate, it takes them a long time to kill a Sejuani. So you shouldn't be worried about dying at this point. It's better to, instead of going for like these types of tank items that provide only stuff for yourself, you want to go for items that provide stuff for your team more so. So going for 4 items here and then building off with these two. So Knight's Vow and Locket, it's going to be very valuable. Of course, you're going to have 3 active items with this, so you definitely want to be able to play with that. But this just kind of, it's just a solid combination. They're both very cheap as well. They're only 2,200 gold each. So this build overall is very cheap. As far as a build goes, this build requires you to have nothing at all, really. So this is also a good synergy to give kills away to your team, because you don't need as much money to come in as like a Karthus would or something. Because these items are just very cheap. 2,200 twice, 25, 28, and this, just look at how cheap the build is, really. Now, of course, traditional magic resist items work as well. So you can go for like Abyssal Mask would be a very good item to get if your team is more so AP heavy. So you can go Abyssal Mask to basically get this. You can then thread the MR, like the MR for your team, really. Adaptive is good, Spirit Visage is good. It's just items you can always get as standard tank items, really. And that is just, yeah, I mean, honestly, like most people will probably understand that just standard tank items will work on any tank. But on Sejuani especially, you're going to be more than tanky enough with just these 4 items right here. And going for Knight's Vow, Locket, or Locket Knight's Vow is going to be a more helpful build for your team. And then, of course, you mix in the Liandry's whenever you do need the extra damage. So you can still go for like a build setup like this, and then go like Gargle Stoneplate into either Locket or Knight's Vow, and just do a lot of damage at the same time. So yeah, that's basically it for the build on Sejuani, guys. If you do have questions on this, please make sure to put those in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video so far, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button as well, as this does help me out quite a bit with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, let's just move on to the gameplay section now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I'm playing Sejuani, of course, into a Kindred. Now, as far as matchups goes, this one is actually a pretty bad one for Sejuani, simply because Kindred outranges you, and she will put pressure on you in the early game where you cannot do much about it. So you definitely got a path in a way to avoid Kindred, especially early on, and Kindred is most likely going to play aggressive into you. Into any tank jungler, really. If you're playing a tank jungler and you're facing a ranged champion like Kindred or Graves or stuff like that, then you need to make sure that you avoid them, even if it costs you maybe a buff camp in the early game, because usually especially towards lower elos. What people do is they will only take one buff camp and then, for example, walk to their other buff, or they will just like go buff camp, buff camp, buff camp, and not take your Gromp or Wolves. For example, if she would have started red buff here, if she would start red here and invade me on the blue, then in higher elo you will get people that will also take your Gromp, maybe even take your Wolves, and then just split the map like that. But usually in lower elos especially, you will just get a person that takes the blue, walks away. For example, she will do red, blue, and then go for her blue or something like that, which, I mean, is a tactic. I don't say it's a good one, because she would have been better off to just take red, blue, Gromp, and then maybe gank bot lane, or take Wolves as well, something like that. That would have been more beneficial, but then splitting the map is just more a bot lane camp type of deal. So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing any tank jungler, like I am going to in this specific game as well. It's gonna try to avoid her as much as possible. And she's gonna start red buff, so I'm just gonna start the other side of the map. In a very rare scenario where she doesn't go for my blue, I would be able to just casually clear my top side. I could also invade her blue, but in a lot of situations on Sejuani, especially depending on what people do, I personally prefer it to just give a blue buff or a buff camp up and look to pressure, especially with the team I have currently. I have early game top lane, early game, well, not really early game mid lane, but this one snowballs really, really hard. So if you can gank her, and also Fizz is a melee range champion. Of course he has his E, which is a little bit annoying, but he is melee range. So yeah. Now Caitlyn Thresh will most likely push in Jhin and Leona, which is why I'm kind of expecting her to do like red, blue, Gromp, bot gank. Kind of expecting that. So either way, yeah. With that being said, let's move on. So my initial thing here is, with a ward, you want to place it like the 50-second ward, about 50 seconds. It doesn't have to be exact. So I'm just going to back approximately at 50 seconds, and then right as my back is about to end, I'll place the ward. Now I can decide to go for a ward here and then start blue clear up. You can clear multiple ways. You can do a triple camp clear, so you do both buff camps and Gromp, which in this case is very risky simply because of the Kindred. What I mentioned earlier, she's most likely going to play aggressive and invade. So if I were to go for my blue, which I would get, and then I would go for Gromp, I would die on Gromp, most likely. Because she would just invade me, and with her red buff against my blue buff, and in solo queue, honestly, a team that probably won't react in time, you're just going to die to the Kindred invade. So that's what I'm going to try to avoid here as well. So I'm just going to place a ward defensively here, in a case that they may late invade or something weird like that. I could have also ran down to blue buff and placed a ward here, and then reset, which would have been a good move as well. But in this game, I believe the Thresh said I'm going to ward blue or something, so it is what it is on that one. So I'm just going to use my ward on the brush there. Now, any melee champion with Sejuani gives you an insane leash. You want to start, by the way, maxing order, you want to start E, level 1. Then you go W, level 2, Q, level 3, and then max W, Q, E. Quite literally, your E is procced very, very often if you have melee champions like this. So Katarina auto attacks will give extra hits, Pantheon auto attacks as well, which is going to proc this really, really easily. So as you can see on this camp right here, you can see this stack up really fast with Pantheon, and basically all you want to do is just spam your E as much as possible, and this camp will die really, really quickly. So right here, basically camp just insta dies, which is good. And I'm just gonna move on, play it safe, go to my Krugs, and right here, I'm just gonna avoid the Kindred as much as possible. Now, as I mentioned earlier, which is what happened, the Kindred invade, like she invades right here, taking my blue. I can, in this situation, do a couple of things. I can go for her blue, which is fine. Like, I can go off this camp, go for her blue. But I was mostly thinking she was just going to split the map here. So she was going to do my Gromp and Wolves as well. So clearing this side of the map and then just moving on to her side of the map would have been fine. Because I was just expecting the bot side clear, Gromp and everything, and then gank bot lane. So I'd have more time, in this case, to also take my camps. If she doesn't do that and only takes my blue, maybe my Gromp, then this is a miscalculation by me. But that's what I was expecting her to do. So I'm just going to move on to my camps right here. Now, in this situation, she hasn't shown bot lane yet, so I kind of figured she'd backed at this moment in time, like right here. I don't know what she exactly did, to be honest. Let me see. Alright, she's just straight walking there. She did red-blue Gromp, which, I mean, is fine. I could have only countered this thing with her walking like this, like by going insta for my Crux to her blue buff, which would have been fine, but I just expected her to split map more, so I was kind of expecting her to either see her gank bot lane or to see her on the ward, which didn't happen. So yeah, let's just go to me again. So she walks past right here. I'm just looking for a gank because, I mean, honestly, at this point, I haven't seen her on a ward yet, which means that either she is running to her blue buff straight away. I don't know if she had my Gromp yet at this point, right? So I don't know this. I thought she only has like the buff camp, and she ran down instead of this way. So she went like this. And that pretty much indicates to me that my Gromp would still be up, and I would just lost a blue buff, which I don't really care about. And yeah, so I figured she backed after blue and then ran to her blue right here. And I still cannot contest her at that point because Kindred is just stronger in a 1v1 early game because I need to close the gap. And then also I have to stick on her, which is really, really difficult. So all that being said, I'm looking for the gank on the mid laner here because the Fizz has this pushing in. So I can definitely look for something here in this case. Yeah, in this case right there, I just kind of relieved some pressure off the Katarina. My cat, like the Scuttle was gonna spawn quite soon, so I just opted to go for that. We see the Kindred on top lane. I do ping this like 5 times. However, my Pantheon still goes in on kill and dies to this gank, which is a bit unfortunate. This shouldn't have happened. So Kindred gets the first blood off that, which is a bit unfortunate, but there's nothing I can do about that. So right here, I'm just gonna go for my Scuttle Crab camp. For the Scuttle Crab on bot side, because I couldn't contest the top side at this point anymore, and also I kind of figured that she was gonna be more on her top side, and I do want to avoid her early on a little bit. So I'm just looking for maybe another gank, but this is maybe warded. I'm just gonna go here for the Raptor camp, which should have been like easy to get. However, Fizz does react to this. So I mean, this is honestly good reactions from their mid lane. However, in this case specifically. Oh, by the way, I made a slight mistake here. This is also something you need to keep in mind for Sejuani. If you are playing her yourself, you need to make sure that you do not get stuck in your W animation when you're trying to proc your E, because you cannot E then. So right here, I proc my Aftershock with my Q. And then, as you can see at this point, the Katarina comes in, which means that she's gonna give stacks for my passive on the Fizz. I thought that I would have to W to get my stacks for the stun. However, because of the Katarina auto attack, I got stuck here in my W animation, which wouldn't allow me to E, and basically got Fizz another hit off. So Fizz actually does get the kill on me, but does have to burn Flash Ignite for it, and gives Katarina a kill as well. Which this for me, as like any tank jungler, this is a fine trade. This doesn't matter because you get your laner ahead. Like I give the Katarina a lead right now. She can push this wave into the turret. Fizz will lose a couple of CS, maybe the cannon. Because it's a cannon, it's gonna lose like less. But if this wasn't a cannon right here, this entire wave would be gone into the turret for this Fizz play. So that's something that you also have to keep in mind. So as a trade, like in and of itself, that's fine. I'll take it. So right here, I'm just gonna go back to clearing my camps normally, or that was the plan at least. I see the Kindred right here, and I just spam assist ping. In this specific situation, if the Pantheon literally just runs down to Kindred and kind of just ignores the kill, to be honest, because kill is still in melee range, basically, so there's not much this kill can do. If he literally just runs down and walks with me to the Kindred right here, this would have been a kill, but this guy, I don't know what he's doing this game, to be honest. He didn't react to earlier pings for the Kindred gank either, and here he's gonna react late again to some assist pings as well. I'm still gonna go in, because all I have to get off is the E, really, and then Pantheon can catch up. She flashes here, though, which is a bit unfortunate for me. But that's still fine, she gets out. And now, the thing here is, this Pantheon goes for the Kindred, which on this stage is still fine. But the moment she now walks away right here, he still walks after her, which wouldn't have been able to catch up. And if he would have just auto-attacked the kill for the passive hits, like right here, to stun him. Right here, he's doing nothing with what he's walking right now. This is something that frustrates me when people are playing with Sejuani and they don't do it. He's a melee range champion. All he has to do is one auto attack, and I'm gonna be able to get my freeze off and kill just insta-dies. So right here, he gets the auto attack off extremely late, and I basically wasn't able to CC her anymore. So that's a really, really sad one. He does still get the kill, however, which again, it's a trade where it's a 1-for-1, but my laners get the kill. And as a tank jungler, I don't really mind trading a 1-for-1 like this if my laners do get a lead out of it or a slight benefit out of it. It's completely fine. However, in this case, the Pantheon could have definitely played it better by either reacting to the ping a little bit faster or to auto attack the kill. So yeah, if you are, for example, duoing with somebody, make sure that if they are playing a melee champion, make sure that you tell them to actually auto-attack the targets you're auto-attacking to get those passive procs on it, because it's just way more beneficial. And right here, this Pantheon tank's like 2 turret shot and barely lives, so this kind of indicates to me that that's a special lane to gank, really. Now, my bot lane consistently has them under turret and pressure because it's a Caitlyn into a Jhin, and if the Kindred doesn't react to this, then they're just going to be winning. I can also dive this later on, which I'm sure you'll see. I'm sure I'll dive it at some point after I hit 6, or with my mid laner roam or something like that. So yeah. Now for me right here, it's mainly just gonna be, I just basically sack two lives, or two deaths, sorry, for like a kill on both my solo laners, which is an okay trade. I don't really mind it. I'm not really put behind in CS either, because Kindred hasn't been AFK farming either. She has been like kind of pressuring, which is what a Kindred usually does. So that's all good. So yeah, for right here, as you can see, basically clearing your camps is you just want to hit the main ones. As soon as you get your Cinderhawk or Bounty Cinder, the small ones will have to burn damage regardless. And with the procs, you're just going to easily be able to clear camps really quickly. So I'm just going to clear some camps here. And then again, look for a gank on the Fizz, since he is pushed up once again. So I can definitely look to maybe pressure him out here somewhere. Go in, he uses his ult on the Katarina, which is fine. And then the Mark spawns on bot side. Fizz has no ult now. Even though Katarina is like half HP, my bot lane should have the pressure in this specific situation for me to be able to contest this Scuttle Crab. So right here, I see Control Ward, I see the Kindred. This is all fine, honestly. She just used that on me. Fizz doesn't have ult, remember, because of the earlier gank, and then Pantheon TP's in, which is a good TP from him. This creates a lot of pressure and basically allows the, well, my bot lane to make the play. Because right here I was getting zoned by the Fizz, he was chasing me down. So at this point I can't join the fight, and if Fizz is chasing me, which is fine, he's probably not going to catch me. He doesn't have ult, so, and he also doesn't have flash, as he used it earlier to kill me like right here-ish, so in this region. He doesn't have flash, so he can't catch me, but he still does chase me. So that basically means that he's not going to be there for the other fight. Katarina can get over and behind, and my bot lane has the pressure on their bot lane. So they should be able to make this play. Now Katarina gets 2 nice resets here, got 2 kills, and we're good off that. Right there, I'm just going to go ahead and clear some of my camps, which is really all I need to do. I mean, this is just that 1 kill lead that she already got from like this situation right here. She gets a little bit more and a little bit more. This is actually not an easy lane for Katarina to win, because Fizz is actually pretty difficult to deal with for her. But if you can kind of bridge the gap and help your laner out, in what I did this game, she's actually going to start snowballing. And a snowballing Katarina, everybody knows that is not fun to face whatsoever. So right here, just clearing some more camps. My camps are respawning. I need to make sure that I keep rotating through these camps, making sure that I also deny Kindred or Marks wherever possible. So yeah. Now, the Katarina, in this case, gets a solo kill, which is very good because of the early game focus and helping her out. Also, in this case, her getting the kill, which is really good, and then also getting the double kill here. She's going to be extremely far ahead. Now, at this point, the kill is completely pushed in, and I just assist ping the top side of the map right here, and if Katarina, like, she will come, I believe, but right in this situation, all Katarina has to do is basically just walk up with me. It doesn't matter what HP we have, because Kindred just the kill just ulted. All Katarina has to do right now, as you will see, run up and go here with me for the Kindred. I sweep, or for the, I keep saying Kindred, for kill, and then I sweep the brush. I see it's not warded, and we have a control ward right here, so I'm not worried at all that she knows. She probably thinks that the Katarina backed or something. She's gonna maybe greed for like a turret plate right here. So I'm kind of just waiting for Katarina to get here, walk up, CC, and basically just give Katarina the kill. In this case, I could have procced my E there and maybe gotten the kill or smited it or whatever, but it's just not worth picking up the kill if you can feed a carry. If you can feed a snowball champion like Katarina, then there's no reason for you to take the kill, and that's something you definitely need to keep in mind. You're not a champion that's going to deal the damage, you're a champion that's going to be the front line or the engage, and you don't necessarily need a lot of money for that, especially on Sejuani, since she's just a very tanky champion in and of itself. Basically, a Warmox will already make you tanky enough with Aftershock, so yeah. So I'm making sure that I clear some of my camps again. You need to like get camp rotations wherever you can, because those are very valuable. And you cannot just give up on them. Now, one thing if you guys remember this as well, kill Dove the Pantheon right here. Now, kill ult level 1 is an extremely long cooldown, which I will show you. 144 second cooldown. That's a long cooldown, right? So that basically means that if I gank him right now with my ultimate up, and like this wave is pushing out, she can, one, miss the wave right here, which, I mean, her teleport's coming back up quite soon, so she might be able to TP back for it, but she's gonna miss these minions at least. And then two, I will be able to easily kill her because she doesn't have ult and doesn't have flash. So return ganks like this are very important and very, like, just, you need to notice those. So right here, all I really have to do, I mean, this wave's gonna push. Pantheon is somehow 2 levels down. I don't know how this happened really, but anyway, she is gonna walk up. Pantheon right here. Pantheon hits the stun, and basically off of that stun, I just CC chain her to death because I ult. And as you saw, right when my ult was about to end, then I Q her as well. I could have also done it the other way around, or I could have just done QE, which probably would have been fine as well, but I just wanted to make sure that I got the kill, so I ulted. In this specific situation, looking back on it, I probably could have just Q'd and then E'd for the hits, and then stunned her like that, because she wouldn't have been able to get out anyway. So that was a bit of a better play there. Now this Pantheon really wanted to dive a Kindred with ultimate, which is a bit unfortunate for me. I do trade the 1-for-1. However, in this case, he doesn't really gain anything out of it. He could have gotten like 2 turret plates maybe with me just pushing, or we could have done Rift Herald something, like whatever. He instead dove the Kindred, which puts her on cooldown, which is okay, but he does trade 1-for-1. So he doesn't specifically gain anything out of me killing Kill. Kill instant TP's back there as well, actually. And right there, I'm just gonna go and look for a bot lane gank. Now, my Katarina, as you see, she is ahead. She's playing this right because she is roaming. So with me, instead of going for this camp right here, I'm gonna go instead and be with my Katarina right now. You need to be with a laner that roams if you can, because you want to have to get this, like, you want to get the setup, you want to get like a gank. So the Katarina was looking for a bot gank. We see Leona walking towards ganking Katarina right now, which is not gonna happen. But because of this, there are just 2 ways she could walk down, and if she walks over this ward down again, she instant dies, because all we really have to do right now is just wait. So we saw her, I mean, ward's cleared right now. We figured out with this, there's a good chance she just walked down, so we just wait a little bit before we go over. This is control warded either way, so we could have just, like, jumped over and ganked through Tribrush, but in this case, we figured Leona, or like, I figured Leona might be here, so I hit, and then the Katarina just on the same page. Really, Leona walks up there, and all we need to just get is some auto attacks. I can get an ECC off right here, and right there I just give Katarina the kill again. You don't want to take those kills. Katarina's going to snowball harder with a kill than you will. And there's a lot of champions that will do that as well. So just giving the assist or giving the kill to your laner is a good choice regardless. It's a pretty painful ultimate miss. I'm just going to smite, like I'm just going to flash forward for it and just make sure that I wanted to give the kill there, by the way, as well. In some situations, it's a little bit risky to just try to give a kill. I do miss... If I hit my ultimate there, that would have been just been a free kill, but I missed it, unfortunately. So right here, I could have done one more auto attack and taken the kill. And now in this case, the Katarina actually has to take a lot more damage. And does have to use her flash, which is a bit unfortunate. Now right here, we get 2 people on me, which is fine. Like in this case, in this specific situation right here, I would rather die than Katarina come back into the fight with low HP. Unless, of course, I get them low enough or they overchase and Katarina can just get resets, which would be okay as well. Now, Leona goes in. As you can see right here, I would rather not, like, Katarina not give her shutdown gold. So if she would jump back in now and die for, like, 1,000 gold, that's something I don't want to see. However, like, right here, of course, I'm a bit far up and I can die for this. I'm extremely tanky, however. So I will be able to tank quite a bit, and right here the Leona gets into turret range. This is kind of a trigger for Katarina to maybe look for a kill, or like an instant kill on Leona. The Kindred focuses too much on me right there, and then they both die because Kindred used her ult on top lane. So this has actually turned out really well. They overchase me, they take a lot of damage for it, and Katarina was able to turn. But in this specific situation as well, I would have been fine just dying because I do not want to want my Katarina to give her shutdown gold. That would be catastrophic, really. Because, like, let's say Kindred gets 1,000 gold, that's a pretty difficult situation to deal with at this point. Wait, I was on the wrong thing. Now, all I know, based off the last gank, is that Fizz just used everything he has. So, I can just gank him once again. So right here, he uses his cooldowns, he goes in. I'm just gonna go over, help my Katarina. Right here, I blue smite him, I can easily catch up to him. Katarina gets her auto attacks off as well. This is the benefit of having a melee ranged mid laner, like Katarina, like Zed, like stuff like that. You can just go in, they proc your like passive for permafrost as well, and you get free CC. So based off of that kill right there, all we really have to do, like we can go for a dragon, or we can double roam down to dive bot lane. Both will work. This is just a situation of, we killed the mid laner, we can now both of us roam down and dive the bot laner, or go for the dragon, which would be good plays. Now in this situation you might think, well, Kindred's mark is up here. This is fine. Like if Kindred goes for this mark and I dive bot lane and get a double kill, I'll trade a double kill for a mark. I don't mind. So right here we get dragon first, and then if bot lane maybe shows up, red is up right here. Alright, bot lane wasn't under, like in a situation to be dove there. Katarina pushes one more wave, and now as we can see right here, the Jhin shows bot lane, which means the Leona is probably going to be bot lane soonish as well. Our wave, is getting pushed in, which means that with the, like, Katarina also sees this, of course. She rocks down, and we are just, like, I'm just going to sit here, use my sweeping trinket, get behind them really, and yeah, as you can see right here, I'm kind of just waiting for the Caitlyn to push the wave in. You don't want to over-aggress and just turret dive, because the turret's gonna do a lot of damage. Now sure, I can take quite a bit of turret damage because I'm very tanky, but if I'm gonna get hit by Jhin, Leona, and the turret at the same time, this might turn out to be pretty bad. So kind of the ideal situation is to just wait for the wave to be pushed in. It doesn't really in this case happen, but yeah. I get the Leona low enough. I, in this case, made a slight mistake, which is something you guys need to remember as well. I walked one step too far back, so right here I'll just... Alright, so in this case, I see an opportunity. He insta-cleanses. I didn't realize he had cleanse. I'm not gonna lie at that point. I did not realize the ADC run cleanse, because there is no reason for him to run cleanse really. So it was a little bit of a surprise for me there. And right here, I stepped one step too far back. I wanted to just tank the turret on the edge of the turret range so I could just walk out, but I stepped one step too far back, which gave Katarina turret aggro, and as you can see, she does take a good bit of damage, but because of Katarina reset, she does get out, which is good. But as you can see right now, with what I've done the entire game, basically, is just enable and set up my Katarina. I did still take like enough farm and enough rotations of my jungle as a tank jungler to make sure that I'm not falling far behind in experience on a Kindred. Now this Kindred, not gonna lie, played it fairly poorly. Her build's also a little bit weird, but yeah, that is just, I guess, how this Kindred plays Kindred, which is fine. But because she isn't like a massive amount of like CS ahead of me, which she should have been with the way this matchup went and with everything, I'm actually in a really good spot now. Of course, giving Katarina such a lead by just ganking her lane, pressuring the Fizz down, allowing Fizz to not roam, and then just my bot lane to create enough pressure out of themselves. This all kind of just walks out like that. I take my bot side camps. Katarina over-aggresses in this situation, I do think. Let me... Maybe she gets collapsed here. Yeah, she goes on the Fizz here, which is fine. In this case, right, however, the kill shows up, and yeah, and in this case there was nothing she could do about it, really. She was just gonna go for the Fizz, and then because the kill was just there at that point, it kind of killed her. Which in this case is really bad, because kill just killed the Katarina. Katarina was worth 700 gold, so she gets 1k from the kill on Katarina, and kills on kill are very scary. She can quite literally 1v9 the game. It doesn't matter what her team does. If she gets far enough ahead, the game is still over. So, like a 1k gold shutdown on the kill, that's not something you'd like to see, really. Alright, so here they overextend, really. The Kindred goes in. And yeah. I don't think Jhin liked the fact that they just got 2v1 by the Caitlyn, so I guess he left the game. I don't even realize it, to be honest. I don't think, this game. I only see it now that he left, to be honest, like, honestly. I only see it in the replay now. But yeah. So Katarina walks up, kill and Fizz in the mid lane. I'm just gonna flank them from behind. Try to get whatever I can. In this case, I figured that the Katarina would probably get the kill. And I'm just gonna go and kill the Fizz real quick, so I can clean him up and then maybe chase the kill. But kill with her W is extremely fast, so that's a slight issue. But with her pathing, of course, you can still cut her off. And I just throw an ult to CC her, and there's nothing she can do. I mean, all we kind of have to do at this point is just make sure that you play this game out right. So when it comes to this stage in the game for Sejuani, you want to just take some camps here and there wherever you can. If you can't deny the enemy jungler if you're ahead, then take his camps instead, which is more beneficial. And all you really do is just engage and frontline for your team. If you can see a pick off with like an ultimate, then go for it. If you can see that your team makes an engage or gets engaged on, try to peel as much as possible. And that's quite literally just that for this stage of the game. You want to be as tanky as possible in this specific game. There's no reason for me to do extra damage, so Leandris doesn't help. Because I do have a very fat Katarina. My AD carry is also doing pretty well. So I have plenty of damage in this team. It's just about being as tanky as possible. So I can go Warmox into a Stone Plate here and then move on to like a Knight's Vow combination with Locket or something like that. That would be a perfectly fine build for me this specific game. And yeah, we get the Rift Herald here. I just want to use the Rift Herald to finish off this push. And then we can just use this to get like mid lane or like dragons in this case. Alright, so here Fizz goes for the turret, takes a lot of damage from me. Like Sejuani has a lot of base damage just in her kit in general. So I actually do a lot of damage to this guy and I'm getting quite low on mana. But in this case right here, if that wasn't a Fizz he probably would have died, but his E is a bit unfortunate or a bit annoying. So yeah, either way, get the 1v1, get the dragon. I mean, this is still scary because Kill actually is very far ahead with those two. She only got one so far, but I do believe she gets another one in a second here. Yeah, this is the one where Katarina over-regressed a little bit. So if you can see the minion wave positioning right here, this isn't in the turret. With this minion wave being right outside the turret, Katarina and going in for a Fizz that can use his E pretty much instantly. This kind of turns out really poor because now the Fizz kind of just gets out and Katarina dies to Kill once again. So Kill gets another 1000 gold shutdown, which is extremely scary. Like getting to that stage for Kill right now, this is gonna be a 1v9 kill. So if we don't play this right, then she could just win the game straight out. So I use the Rift Herald and we just go for a push to get the inhibitor down. I peel back, but again there the Kill being very scary and getting a lot of kills. I mean, I can play this fight a little bit slower actually. So we just go for turrets and the Rift Herald will want to try to get this inhib, and then with a Baron push we can end the game. Right here the Fizz goes in. I'm just trying to stand and take as much damage for my Caitlyn as possible. Now in this specific situation, right. Okay, where is it? Alright, so Kill walks up. I ult Kill, Thresh lands a hook, which is good. Then I use my CC chain right there. And right here in this case, she was 1 HP off of getting killed right before she could ult because of the CC chain. There was unfortunately nothing that we could have done for the extra damage. But then she's like with her damage set up right there, she still picks up 2 kills. Which is like, that's just kill, honestly. Now Caitlyn is still very far, like she's doing very well. She has red buff now. She does a lot of damage, so she cleans this up. I mean, at this point, honestly, we can't really lose anymore. Like from the roam, from the mid lane camp, from the Fizz for like ganking top lane, just making sure that my solo laners are able to get ahead or stay in the game because this Pantheon did some crazy stuff. But yeah, of that and roaming with Katarina to get her kills on top and bot lane, this kind of just is a one game. Now, with this, looking back at it now, I didn't realize that the Jhin was AFK for so long, not gonna lie. It doesn't even really matter that he was AFK for that. Like, we abused him with, like, bot lane dives on bot lane dives, and then also the Kindred not being able to do anything whilst they were pushed in every single time, which is really on Kindred. But yeah, they got abused, really, for a 1 in 15 out of the bot lane there with Katarina roams. And this is just, if you can roam with your mid laner like this or a tank jungler, or just make sure that you dive with your CC, that's a very, very good play. Now, kind of to finish out this game, all we kind of have to do is get Baron and just push with that. Situations for Sejuani would just be to frontline tank as much as possible. Sadly, miss my ultimate there, that's a bit annoying. Now this kill does a lot of damage. So that is pretty scary. As you can see right here, Kale's damage is just insane. Like, I'm extremely tanky right there. I have Warmogs, I have Stoneplate for a lot of extra resistances. I can activate my Stoneplate as well. And she just burns me. Like, her damage is crazy high. But yeah, off of the entire play, I mean, honestly, as soon as Kale dies there, they have nothing left on their team and they just lose. So right here we get Baron and end the game. Yeah, that's basically how you want to play Sejuani. Into a Kindred, into champions that invade you early, like Kindred, like Graves, you want to play it more defensive. However, if you're not facing those types of champions, then going for a full clear is a good option because Sejuani scales extremely well. You can also go for a double, for a double buff with Gromp clear. That took a while to get out. If you want to do that, then that's fine too. You can just do that, gank top lane early or stuff like that. And then as soon as you pick up your Cinderhawk, though, you want to make sure that you do get your rotations in. Do need to get your jungle rotations in to get the farm. Because as you can see this game, I mean, she didn't need the farm. She had more than enough kills, I suppose. But I had 158 CS still, which kind of, yeah, it's a really good situation for me to be in. Even though I did gank a lot and did pressure a lot, as you can see with the kill participation. I basically set up the Katarina to win this game, which is really good there. So yeah, that's been it for the Sejuani guide, guys. If you do have any questions on this, make sure to put those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. And also, if you want to catch me streaming live on Twitch, you can. There is a link in the description. You can follow me there. Come hang out there. I do stream quite a bit. So yeah, with all that being said, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!